Hello everyone, my name is Hayden the Weatherman. Figured I'd do another quick update video on the storm system that is going to move through our area tomorrow. There's a lot to talk about, whether it be from temperatures to heavy rainfall. It could lead to some flooding again, like we saw the other day in Baton Rouge, and maybe even some severe weather once we get along the coast. So I figured we'd just stop and talk about it real quick. First off, sympnosis quickly. We have an upper level low that is currently near the Baja Peninsula, just east of it, over northwestern Mexico. You can see a trough across central U.S. over Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas. That is streaming off to the northeast, connecting with another upper level low, which is off the east coast at this point. But what we have also, I'm going to zoom in real quick as my computer is hating me. If we zoom in, might not be able to see it really well because we're at nighttime and I don't really, excuse me, don't have visible satellite. But there is a surface low pressure area that is somewhere along the lower Texas coast, about 150 to 100 miles off of it. That area is what we'll be watching later, as this will be moving northeastward throughout tomorrow and tonight. This will lead to a very complex weather situation across the area, which we'll be diving into very shortly. If we go to the local area and turn on the surface observations, they might be a little hard to see. We have 64 along the coast, 58 in Houma, 56 at the airport in Kenner, 52 in Reserve. Once you get up to Baton Rouge, I believe that says 46, and New Roads is at 41. So again, the temperature gradient, which has been well advertised over the last few days, still definitely exists. And we see lower 70s in the Gulf, not far offshore. So there's a warm front about, I'd say it looks like it's about here. This was the cold front that came through last night. It dropped temperatures over today. But with the low, this will be moving northeast. This warm front will be shooting back northward. And temperatures will once again be on the rise tomorrow. Now, this leads to a very complex forecast, as the warm front is expected to stall somewhere just west and north of Lake Pontchartrain, maybe not even getting that far. And that's why this forecast is complex, because the exact location of the warm front is going to decide a lot. And we'll get into that shortly. First, just a look at the forecast across the area. As you can see, here's the temperature gradient we're talking about. If you're on the South Shore, middle to lower 70s for highs is pretty widespread here. Once you get up to Baton Rouge, 50s. You get farther northwest into the area and you're dealing with 40s for highs. So it's a very hard forecast to nail perfectly. And there's a lot going on with it. So like I said, the warm front is expected to stall somewhere between Vermilion Bay, just northwest of Lake Pontchartrain, somewhere in that area. Now, I will say these temperatures probably won't last that long. These high temperatures in the 70s. Because what will happen is, as the low moves to the northeast, the warm front will kink backwards a little bit. And then once the warm front passes, you're going to get the cold front push through the warm front off to the east still. That will lead to this colder air, which you can see, which has been sitting here for a while now. It hasn't been moving much. That cold air will finally filter its way in, although the intensity of the air will be weakening a good bit. Makes for a very complex forecast, as the exact placement of the surface low will be very important here. As for rainfall totals, we could see some fairly heavy amounts in northern areas. This will kind of be a north-oriented system again. South Shore still could pick up a quarter to a half inch. Could be higher in localized spots, obviously, but we can't predict those very well. Also, one thing to note, if you are north of the warm front, you're going to get more rain. I think that's more what the forecast is trying to depict here. That warm front will be forcing a lot of the showers to develop. South of it, you're not going to get as much. However, if you are south of the warm front and in the warm sector, there will be a brief, and I mean brief, chance of some weak severe weather along the cold front. and we'll get into that too. So I just wanted to pull up a forecast for 3 places, which is going to show the gradient across the area of temperatures. First, we're going to look at our local area. Obviously, this is for Norco. So you can see tonight, I don't know what the graph is doing. It's currently 54. I would wage that these temperatures are not supposed to be at 61. I think it's supposed to be a straight line right here. I'm guessing that's just an error, because it just goes to 61 at 4 random points. But anyway, so temperature is going to hover around the mid 50s for now. Once we get to tomorrow morning, you see dew points creep up just a little bit. And notice they're not going to shoot up very much because we're not quite in the warm sector, but we're just on the edge of it. So that'll be something we're watching. Obviously, if the warm front moves through, these winds will turn more southerly, and that'll lead to more moisture. We'll be watching that. Temperatures are expected to get into the lower 70s, dew points into the lower to mid 60s. Both will be heavily dependent on where that warm front goes. So moving past that, we're going to go look at Baton Rouge now. Now, obviously, this will be well north of the warm front. High, as depicted, 59. You can see dew points only get to the low 50s. Tonight, you'll be stuck in the 50s, in the very low 50s, maybe in the 40s. Actually, you're going to be stuck in the 40s. It is 46 in Baton Rouge as we speak, so that's something to watch. You can see winds never flip to the south like they do on the South Shore. They stay northerly the entire time. The moisture never can get in. Now, if we look at a place like Houma, obviously you're going to be well within this warm sector, and that's why your high is depicted at 76. And your dew point is depicted at in the mids to upper 60s, at 66 currently here. You can see the winds in this area almost due south, so you're going to be well within the warm sector. Places along the coast, it's a no-brainer that you're going to get into the warm sector in this situation. Something that you don't really have to worry about. You'll get that warm air for a brief period tomorrow during the day. Now, if we look at other factors, I do want to note rain chances will be very high tomorrow. There will likely be a good bit, as we mentioned. Could see some isolated thunderstorms. Fog this morning is going to be a big thing. And by this morning, I mean Thursday morning. Once again, we've had pretty bad fog the last few days with the stalled front just not moving as much. For all these areas, you have pretty widespread fog, we're saying. Once you get to Baton Rouge, you're not looking at as much fog in my eyes, but there's still areas of very heavy fog. It's been like that no matter what the temperature is, basically, which is weird because typically at these low of temperatures, you're not expecting fog. This situation is different though. So anyway, let's go look at the models real quick. This is the HRRR. I'm going to go back because I was looking at it earlier. Okay. So if we take a look at dew point, this will help a good bit. Now, you can see if we look in the Gulf, I want you to focus your eyes down here. Pretty clear to see as we play this loop that there is a lot of turning going on with the winds. You can see the low pretty clearly in that area. If we go to temperature, actually, it'll probably be a lot better. You can see northerly surface winds and then southeasterly surface winds combining there, converging there. That is our surface low, and that is what we'll be watching throughout the day. As you can see, as this moves northeastward, temperatures jump. See, the HRRR only sees New Orleans getting up to 62. Now along the coast, you're getting up to mid-70s again. Baton Rouge, 48. Now this could be, like I said, a very complex forecast, high bust potential. You could see highs and you could see highs up to 10 degrees off what they're forecasted. Could be colder or warmer in this situation. Now as we move along, you can see the threat won't last very long. The warm front, if it does move through, will be sometime around midday, and the cold front will already be kicking out by 5 p.m., 6 p.m. that time. And it will be in the colder air again. That colder air will be filtering in throughout the night, and that'll be a cold night for us, with elevated winds as well. So, along the coast, like we said, you have the best chance of seeing the higher dew points, the moist environment, and the higher temperatures. This will lead to some very a very low chance of severe weather. As you can see, those Cape values, they try to run in, but they fail pretty miserably. Now, obviously, with lower dew points and lower temperatures, you're not going to get as high of dew points and you're not going to get as high of energy values. So we're not looking at a very big severe weather threat with this. As you can see, the supercell composite numbers are almost zero. So that's at least one thing we don't have to worry as much about. If we're going to look at simulated rainfall, here we are. You can see a rain shield develops to our north over northern Louisiana and eastern Texas. That is where the heavier rain is going to be. But we will be in pretty widespread rain throughout the day tomorrow, starting around 9 a.m. I obviously don't take this as a gospel, but do note that thunderstorms and showers are possible starting around 9 a.m. and could continue throughout the day. Now, there could be some lingering showers behind the line for a good bit as well, but by Friday morning, we will be clearing out pretty rapidly. And I think by Friday, we should be getting into sunshine. Actually, I'll check that real quick. I'm not really sure on that. Yeah, so it looks like by Friday morning, we should be getting into the sunshine. More likely around 9 to 10 a.m. compared to the morning, but sunshine nonetheless. And then the system will be kicking out to our east. So, to recap, complex storm system over the Gulf. This will be moving northeast later today, and we will be getting into the warm sector on the south shore, and maybe temperatures will be in the 70s. Obviously, we'll have to see because things can change pretty quickly. Depends exactly where that surface low tracks. So, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.